Speaking of not wearing deodorant, I smell very badly.
Oh. So are you going to go put some on?
I think, honestly, the reason I smell those is because I've been using the Dove body wash that's in the shower at the beach house. I don't have my Dial bar.
You're a barman.
Yeah. I'm a man. I'm not wearing Dove body wash and with lotion built into it.
All right, let's get into this, guys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to New Heights.
Hey.
Presented by Wave Sports and Entertainment. We are your hosts. I'm Travis Kelsey. This is my big brother, Jason Kelsey, out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Northeast Ohio, shout out. New episodes come to you every single Wednesday. We're a little late this week because we're in Philly and we're getting ready for Beer Bowl. So sorry we're getting this to you a little late, but glad we got it to you. Subscribe on YouTube wherever you get your podcasts and follow the show on all social media platforms at New Heights Show with one S. Jason, tell them what we got coming up.
We got a great episode as always.
Damn it.
That's right.
Good.
We're going to get to everything you need to know that happened at Tight End U. Ooh. We're going to touch on, of course, our not dumb questions submitted by all of our 92%ers. And most importantly, we're going to get to our guest today, Mr. Alejandro Villanueva.
Woo-hoo.
Man, I don't know if Dos Equis is still doing those most interesting man in the world commercials, but if they are, we got the real one right here.
Yeah.
But first, before we get to our guests, we're going to get to Out of the House.
Get out of the house.
I don't know if you could guess what the Out of the House is, but it's Travis going to Nashville, Tennessee for Tight End U. Who'd you meet?
I met Dalton Kincaid.
Dalton
Kincaid, rookie out of Utah.
Nice.
He's playing first-round draft pick to the Buffalo Bills.
It's a tight end?
He's drawn some comparison to, maybe being that hybrid receiving, really good receiving tight end.
Do you have a lot of questions for you? Did he pay attention?
He didn't
ask
me one single question.
Didn't ask you anything?
No, guys had his wits about him, I'm not going to lie.
Did he ask any questions?
He looked like he was just absorbing everything, as a rookie.
Not a big question guy?
Yeah, when I was a rookie, I wasn't asking a lot of questions. I was just trying to figure it out.
Who else did you meet?
Were
any quarterbacks there?
We had Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. Who else showed up? We had some good QBs.
Is it just a happenstance that
Trey Lance.
You had three quarterbacks that also could have played tight end?
Yeah, literally all three of them, huh?
That would have been great tight ends.
Yeah, those dudes are great athletes. Man, it's a lot easier playing tight end than it is quarterback, guys, if it doesn't work out for you. It was cool. In terms of meeting guys, I'm pretty familiar with the majority of the guys in the league playing tight end nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get to see Rob Gronkowski talk about some football, man. You want to talk about nuggets of gold, man.
What was the biggest thing he gave you that you took away from his?
It sounded like he was just the ultimate fucking teammate, man. He was just so willing to do whatever the team needed him to do at any moment and making sure that he was always ready.
Unselfish.
Very unselfish dude, man.
That sums up Rob Gronkowski if I've ever heard a word.
Yeah. It was awesome hearing him talk ball and just talk about how you need to be in the building and how accountable you need to be and the desire that you need to have to be that, especially when you got, great players around you. You got a chance to win, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was awesome hearing him and talk through some plays on the screen.
Is he talking through run plays, routes?
Dude, he was talking through really what was Rob Gronkowski's greatest plays highlight tape. So it was some of the stuff, and it was just fun watching him.
All right, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to stiff arm the shit out of this DB and throw him 5 yards up the field.
And there was a mentality he would talk
Works
about
every time.
Having that. Yeah. No, he would use his size. Obviously, him talking through using his size and just tight ends being able to use their size and route running and things like that. And when you have the ball.
We were talking to him.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I love to hear everything.
What did you teach the tight ends?
Dude, I found this out 3 years ago, really. I'm not a great teacher.
You're not a great teacher?
No, I'm not a great teacher. I think that I can teach, but when I watch myself on video teach, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
I think you're giving yourself a little bit of not the right amount of credit. I've heard from other tight ends on our team that have went. They said that you actually have some really pointed things about coverages and why you run routes and things.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, at least it registered for somebody.
That's what they said.
It's difficult for me to be able to, articulate kind of how I like to look at the game and how I like to do it because I've never sat there and tried to make it make sense. It just makes sense for me. Right?
Yeah.
So to be able to discuss that in front of a group and have everybody in the room understand it, and let alone have them understand it, but be able to take that with them, take what I'm saying and be able to translate it into their game. Years past, I talked about a lot of, what we do in Kansas City and kind of what I'm the I don't want to say the
adjuster.
Yeah, I don't want to say the adjustments that I make, but the ability for me to
have the freedom.
Go off script. Yeah, the freedom that I have in my offense. Guys don't have any freedom in their offense, let alone if you're trying to.
And it works.
All right, now that's what I'm trying to tell them.
Did Andy give you that, or did you just kind of try it out?
No, he did not. I
like,
think Coach Reed.
I feel like that's the way it works. Like J.J. Watt, nobody has a license to backdoor tackles on the outside on zone plays.
Unless you're getting the tackle
make a
in
bunch
the
of tackles
backfield,
for loss. I'm like, hey, why don't you keep doing that?
Yeah, no. I would say I did that more in practice than I did in games.
You definitely want to try it out in practice.
Yeah, you do not want to do this in games, dude.
Bold move, try it in the middle of the game.
Basically, I'm not afraid to get yelled at during practice. But I would tell them things that I did that kind of, make me a better player, and they didn't have that freedom in their offense to be able to do it. Or at least they were trying to make the team to where they didn't want to use the reps that they were getting to, I don't know, screw up or maybe do something unscripted.
Yeah.
So I tried to make this year a little bit more of like how to channel your own professionalism and just give kind of keys and notes of how I like to run certain routes versus certain coverages. Yeah. So I don't know. I try to make it more relatable for everybody in the building or everybody in that room instead of just kind of directing it towards the style of tight end that I am.
Yeah. All right. Well, are you and Darnell Washington friends now?
I did not see Darnell Washington up there. Was he
He's
there?
Not up there?
I don't think he was up there.
Maybe he just didn't go to your seminar.
I didn't mean it. I didn't meet him. I don't think I met him.
Did you learn to block?
Yes. I finally figured it out. I got my towel drill. I got my
towel drill. What's towel drill?
It's the kiddos,
You grab the towel.
No. Towel's on the floor.
Towel's on the floor?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to do with the towel on the floor?
You it set your angles. It helps you with footwork and being able to, set your angle on a certain defender, whether you're running inside zone, outside zone. Basically, yeah.
Oh, with a towel.
Yeah, because you can do that anyway. You can do towel drills anyway. You can't. Not everybody has a board at the house. Yeah, there you go.
But yeah.
So,
Same premise.
I'm going to use that to my advantage this year.
I just don't need a towel either. Don't need a towel or a board.
Well, Jason, that's why you're the fucking #1 center in the National Football League, because you don't need that kind of stuff. A guy like me, I'm not in the top 5 tight ends because I can't fucking block. Fuck!
Oh, my gosh. Do you have anything else to add from Tight End U before we end this segment?
Dude, it's so much fun. I just want to thank all the guys for coming out, man.
Is it fun because you're teaching Tight End U, or is it fun because it's in Nashville, Tennessee?
It's fun because everybody really does go out there with the intentions of gathering as much information as possible. Like how everybody, their attention, the questions, the ability to go out there, work out, sweat, really kind of get after their craft and try and get better. I think that's what makes tight end so much fun. And then on top of that, the parties are free at the end, and we raise a lot of money for a lot of good causes.
I got to admit, you got a trophy for Tight End U this year, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was a little wasted when they
shouldn't they give out diplomas? What are they giving out trophies?
Yeah, so they gave out trophies. Everybody in the group decided voted on who was kind of like the #1 tight end, or I forget what the actual trophy's name was, but basically, yeah.
So in your head, the trophy was just I'm the best tight end, but that's not what the actual trophy was.
I think that's what it was. I didn't get to take it with me. They said they're going to engrave my name on one and send it to me. So
nice.
Yeah. Again, I was a little drunk.
I think that about wraps up Tight End U. As you can see, a lot of riveting conversations and good tight end topics where they talk blocking, route running, catching balls, and of course,
drinking.
We're going to get to our guest now. Mr. Alejandro Villanueva.
Something way more exciting and interesting for Jason. Everybody give it up for Jason for ruining another segment.
Today, we are joined by a man that grew up in Spain, graduated from West Point Academy, served 3 tours in Afghanistan, was an Army Ranger, and it all earned him a Bronze Star. And if those life achievements weren't enough for one person in their lifetime, he then decided to play in the NFL for 8 seasons, making 2 Pro Bowls with the Pittsburgh Steelers as one of the best left tackles in the NFL. 92%ers. Yeah, it's a big one this week. 92%ers, please welcome Mr. Alejandro Villanueva.
Is
that good emphasis?
For being in Philly?
Yeah, it passes.
What else?
It wouldn't pass in Spain.
what else are you going to do in this life, dude?
Dude, he's a fruit farmer now.
I'm a fruit farmer, yeah.
Taking over the farming industry?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
But I don't think any of that. The resume sounds a lot better than what it actually is, for sure.
No, dude, that sounded pretty fucking sweet.
All righty. We're going to get to the new news. As always, we hit it with a new news.
New news!
We ask all of our guests to do their own new news. So we got to hear your new news.
My new news?
Chime.
My new news?
Yeah, your new, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
The Wagner Group having a attempt of a coup.
Oh, my God.
In
This is
Russia?
going in another direction I was
love
not
it.
prepared
Yeah.
for.
Is that new news?
It's
No,
definitely
it is.
new
It is.
news.
I mean, that's new
we're
news.
gonna
Our
say,
show-
to jump the segment off, though, he's going to say new news, I'm going to say new news, and then you're going to hit your chime of the saying new news.
We can go back to the Wagner Group, though.
Yeah, we can.
Do you
I
want
would
me
be curious to.
Do you want me to say new news?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's
It's
essentially
pretty-
what he was getting into.
New news.
All right, back
New
to the
news.
back to the Wagner Group.
Yeah.
So, you're a farmer now.
I am a farmer.
You played 8 seasons in the NFL, served in the military, overseas, and now you farm fruit in Florida. How's that going? What do you have to tell us about the farming industry that you've learned so far?
I feel like it's a very broad question.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see how you answer it, and we'll see if I narrow it down.
Yeah.
I feel like the transition out of the NFL is extremely difficult.
Mhm.
It's very similar to the transition out of the military, for example, where you have to find a new identity.
Yeah.
And I think that farming has always been in my family. I think that farming is something that I've always considered very noble and something that the United States has always considered our priority.
Yeah.
To make sure that we don't depend on other countries to feed our people. And so for me, farming has been a passion that I've always had. And in South Florida represents a very niche type market that offers tropical fruits that are not offered anywhere else in the United States. And so for me, it's been an incredible transition. And so I'm very excited about this new chapter of my life for sure.
What is the biggest perk of owning a fruit farm besides eating a lot of fruit?
I think that's the biggest farm. But I think that, as a football player, you're always in tune with fans and what the fans want. If you have a good game, you'll get certain feedback. If you have a bad game, you have a different set of feedback. But when you're creating a product that people consume, you're hearing a different type of feedback and you're appealing to a very specific type of consumer and you learn about the consumer markets. And so you get embedded for the first time into the economy, not as a product, as in like, we want to buy your jersey and we want to see you catch touchdowns and do the little Dougie, we want for the first time to consume what you're producing and we want to evaluate you on the type of products that you're making out of your farm. And so obviously being in a subtropical area like Miami, Florida, and appealing to the community of Miami is extremely interesting because you can connect with your community and you can connect with a consumer market that is very interested in what you have to offer.
Damn. This guy, it sounds like you're pretty buttoned up already, dude.
No.
Sounds like you're about to kill it.
This episode's about to launch before the 4th of July. You told me before we agreed to do this or whatever that you're going to Spain for the 4th of July. Do you always go overseas for the 4th of July? Like, is there...
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, or however you want to frame it, I'm still on the NFL schedule.
Okay.
Taking July off as a month to relax. I guess now I can go in August. I guess I can go anytime I want.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think
But I've
about.
always found to be extremely rewarding to celebrate 4th of July in Europe.
Why is that?
Rub it in their face.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but I
That's an
actually
American answer right there.
I do. I've always celebrated I've always seen the celebration of 4th of July happen in my hometown of Rota Naval Station, which is a joint base between the Spanish Navy and the American Navy, and they put on a big show, fireworks, all the things that they've historically done in the United States. And so for me, it's always awesome to not only be in my hometown in the hot months of July and August, which are extremely popular, but also be around the U.S. military, which is for me sort of like my first home out there.
awesome.
I feel very uncomfortable when I'm in the civilian environment. When I'm inside the confines of a military installation, always feel extremely comfortable.
At home.
At home, always.
That's awesome, man.
How many places have you lived?
So Miami is the 18th city that I lived in. And so I lived in 18 cities for 6 months or longer
Nice.
throughout my life.
Dude, I admire that. I love traveling. I love playing in different places. I like just getting out of the house. This guy, he could stay in one city for the rest of his life.
Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Philly. That's all I got.
Right.
I'm in 3.
Yeah, well, I've got 3. I've been in the Midwest my whole life.
Right. I mean, I do feel like a lot of military kids will say, it's for me is 24 or 30. You know,
Yeah.
they've just been moving around throughout their whole entire lives. You know, I grew up in a military environment, and then when I became an adult, I served in the military. So I was always constantly moving from one place to the next. It almost seems that I could never stop moving to a different place. After 2 years, you almost feel like your body's saying, like, okay, what's next? You know, where am I going next? But I think I settled in South Florida. South Florida's been incredible to me. It's been an amazing place, a lot of culture, a lot of people from different places. And so hopefully I can give my kids a little more stability that I did not have growing up.
I respect it.
All right, we got to get to
Keep this thing moving, man.
get the bold topic.
Yeah, as you've already noticed, this isn't an actual interview. We just sit down and we chat and talk it up and talk about some bold topics, man. See what you're up to. And Jason, why don't you start them off with some of your time with the Eagles, man?
My first love.
Yeah, I figured we'd start with your first stop.
Well, it wasn't my first stop. My first stop was actually Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I got invited to go to the.
but that was right after college, right?
That was actually during college.
Was it during college?
Yeah, so at the military academy, you graduate usually late May, and rookie mini camps happen a little before that. So I don't know how I got invited to go to a rookie mini camp with Cincinnati. Jermaine Gresham was the first round pick. Carlos Dunlap was the second round pick.
Another dog.
Geno Atkins.
That was a good draft class.
Yeah, it was.
It's an incredible draft class. And I remember, it's kind of crazy because as you both know, and you probably forgot about this, but your rookie mini camp and showing up to the airport and getting picked up by the team staff and get into your locker is such an incredible and surreal moment. You know,
Take a picture of your locker with your name on
Right.
it. Yeah, of course.
So that was for me in Cincinnati, you
Nice.
know, and I had my locker right next to Carlos Dunlap, and I was able to become, you know, acquainted with such an incredible group of men, and that was my first experience. Then after my first deployment, I went to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Sean McKellen was the first round pick.
Mhm.
Alshon Jeffries was the second round pick. And so for me, it was like as a tight end, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Both of these were tight end, right?
Both of these were tight end. I played wide receiver in college my last year.
Yeah.
So because I played tackle as well in college. So I played defensive end, tackle, and wide receiver. Tight ends seemed to be the best combination of all three.
It sounds like you could do it all, and that's when you can do it all. They just put you at tight end.
They put you at tight end, right? But then my first actual opportunity to make it into an NFL roster was with Philadelphia, and I say it was my actual first, you know, chance because it was longer than a rookie mini camp, and so I was at camp with the Eagles, obviously where I met Jason.
Yeah,
and it was an incredible experience. I mean, I know that for you've probably seen so many players go through your entire life.
Way different.
No. But for me,
I promise you, because you were that first OTAs, you had just got there. You were 260 pounds when you first showed up?
just like
maybe.
that, yeah.
And they said you were playing D end. You were an Army Ranger. You served 3 tours in Afghanistan. So way different, right from the get-go.
right from there.
You were still in the mode of running. What was it, like 6 miles every morning?
Yeah.
So you would be out there, and he would be out there in the morning running laps, like around the field, around the state, like all that. And we're like, what's going? Like this is a way different conditioning.
Or you're not
going to have to run that many miles playing football.
I mean, I feel like anybody who runs would understand this in terms of there's an addiction to the runner's high.
Mm-hmm.
To being able to run and being in that mode where you're just like in a subconscious state. But when I was with Philadelphia, I was still in the military.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday through Thursday, because Chip Kelly did not have OTAs on Fridays.
Yeah.
You guys and that was Chip Kelly's offense?
Yes.
Weren't you guys running like 200 plays a
For
day?
the offense. But the defense, they wanted big 3-4 D end, D tackle, nose guards. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Space eaters.
There you go, baby.
Yeah, so Monday through Thursday, I would go to OTAs, and then Thursday after practice at 1 p.m., I would get in my car, and I would drive 95 South all the way from Philly to Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Through the night, I would show up in the morning to formation. I would have a days of work on Friday, and then on Sunday, I would sign out on leave again, just so that my leave time that I have accumulated over the 5 years that I was in the military would suffice to be able to complete OTAs and training camp and perhaps have a chance to make it into an NFL roster.
Man, that's nuts, dude.
But I do think that
That's crazy.
Chip
Could
Kelly.
you imagine doing that, Jason?
No.
I've gone through training camp.
I've always been
I
terrible.
can't even breathe, let alone function mentally. And you're out here working 2 shifts.
I guess, how did you end up in Philadelphia? Was it Billy Davis? Was it Jerry Azanero? Was it Chip Kelly? Like, how did you end up in Philly?
Okay, so when I got done with my third deployment, with the Rangers. I came to a realization that, I mean, I don't know if this is controversial to say, but I knew that we were not going to win or have a clear, decisive victory in Afghanistan.
Okay.
And so at that point, the Army was having what's called a BRAC movement. So they were reducing the size of the force. So each brigade in the Army, we have 9 divisions. So each division was downsizing from 4 brigades to 3 brigades. I know this is all going over your head, but what it means is that the Army was downsizing.
Yeah.
And when you downsize, you're going to have an excess of officers. And so my time in the Army, I spent it all in the infantry, try to be as close to the action as possible. And when it was time for me to transition into my next career phase, I had to wait 18 months to get command because I went to a light infantry unit. I had to go to a heavy infantry unit, so I had to go to Fort Hood. I had to be in a tank, and that obviously, as you can tell, panicked me a little bit.
Sheesh.
A little tight.
And I just got married, and so I didn't know if I wanted to give my kids the same experience that I had of always picking up and leaving, not having an identity, not having a home, not having any of that. And so, like most officers that I ever, out of West Point, for example, I think like 75% of officers leave after 5 years.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a pyramid, you know what I mean? The higher you get to the top, the less officers are going to be. So I decided to get out of the military, and I wanted to, one of the things that I found out about.
You just said, I'm going to join the NFL.
No, it's even crazier than that. So one thing that I realized about higher institutions like Harvard, Yale, Stanford, is that you're always competing with your classmates, whether you're at the academy, which you have a rank while you're at the academy, or after the academy. You're always competing. You're always seeing like, how's Jason doing? How's Travis doing?
What was your highest rank?
My highest rank, so I think I was in the hundreds academically. I was mid of the pack physically, and I was almost dead last militarily, which is the 3 categories that they I was
Physically, academically, military. What's a militarily mean?
Militarily means they grade you on how you did on your assignments on as a leader at the academy.
Yeah.
So you have during the summers your cadre, so you instruct the new cadets on how they should behave themselves, how to march, how to salute, how to do all the basic drills. And then during the academic year, you have a lot of assignments too. They could be like you could be the company commander for your company, so you're in charge of all they divide the core cadets into regiments and into companies.
Yeah.
And so you're in charge of your classmates. You're in charge of the daily activities.
Yeah.
So I did not perform as good as I should have in those activities. Obviously, I was very focused on football.
You also could have just got caught with some absolute knuckleheads.
No, I mean, I do think that Army football is an incredible and very fascinating subculture of the academy. Imagine if you were a football player and you have your own, the values of the locker room in the NFL are very similar to the values in any NFL locker room. Imagine if Cincinnati, you're like, okay, now you're in charge of these cadets or these students from University of Cincinnati, and you have to mentor them and you have to advise them on, and then you have to be in charge of them. Based on how late he was today, I know for a fact that Travis would be, second, he would beat me.
Bad militarily?
Bad militarily, right?
I'm not gonna lie. You said academics. I'm gonna be at the bottom of the charts of that one too.
But academics was my strength.
Physicality though. That's my kind of job right there.
Physicality, you got to run long distance.
I'm a long distance runner too.
Okay, so
I don't run 6
miles.
miles
Because you play basketball. Basketball, I feel like all the basketball players can.
Yeah, I was actually lucky that Dad made me be a athletic trainer the year that I was ineligible for football because the basketball team was forced to be on the cross country team if they weren't playing a spring sport, or at least go to cross country practice. And I was like, man, good thing Dad made me trainer Trav. I'm in here taping ankles and handing out water.
Nice, yeah.
So, do you think that the same structure and leadership styles and teaching styles that work in the military are the best ways to teach players and to take that to football?
That's an amazing question that I've asked myself many times because it's been always hilarious to see how NFL teams utilize the military and use a lot of lingo like, "We're going to war, boys." Mm-hmm. Like, you guys are not going to war. You guys are going to game.
It's a little different.
This is 100% pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience.
My understanding of what I always tell people, because for me it was very impactful, as a European coming to the United States and walking into a college football team and seeing how people scream during practice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and they pitted each other during practice like one-on-ones. You know what I mean? Like, you know that you've been, like, one-on-ones is like I don't want one-on-ones. And so
I love one-on-ones.
when I did a little bit of pseudo research.
Running against a DB, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. Little guys running around.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's the best.
You ever
Excuse
do
me.
one-on-one
Gotta
pass
go this
blocking?
way.
On a one-on-one
Yeah,
like a football.
with Justin Houston.
Is that
Tom
fun?
Ali, my rookie year.
That's a good time.
Yeah, it was a great
that
time.
was-
Learned a lot about myself.
That was actually my first start against Tom Ali. It's crazy. Yeah.
You played with Jay Houston, man. That guy's freaking strong as
Amazing
anybody ever.
human being, though.
Oh, great dude.
I love
One of the
playing
best,
with him.
One of my favorite teammates. And I tell you, that dude, every single time he went up against me, told me as he was running past me after he just sacked the quarterback again, just, hey, Kels, you're going to need a few more cheeseburgers tomorrow. It's like, damn it. I had 10 yesterday. Fuck.
You know, what I thought about football is that football was created out of the lack of war between men in between war periods. And so men, in order to feel themselves as, you know, worthier or whatever, they came out with this game of football, which includes a lot of the same concepts as the military.
Yeah.
And so football and the military have always been, you know, they've used the same values, they've used the same structure. So it's extremely similar. Now, in reality, it's not the same at all.
Right.
But screaming during a drill, like, why are you screaming during a drill?
Because I'm bored.
No, but like, that's the same thing.
Adrenaline! Let's go.
Inducing stress into the player in order to,
It's not good. Stress is good, right?
yeah, but
Anxiety is good.
but that's what they do. That's what they do during basic training.
Yeah.
So when I was going through drills and they were screaming like, go, 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 go. You're like, go, 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 go. That sounds a lot like I'm going through basic training. So it was very.
Did you have a problem with that type of leadership in basic training?
I think the military is always ahead of society when it comes to everything. I think the military is always, because the military truly represents the country and the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the military, years and years ago, they realized that if you scream at a millennial, the millennial's going to look at you and say, bro, what's wrong with you? You know, why are you so angry?
Yeah.
You know? It's much better if you explain it to me rather than screaming at me. So the military transitioned before the NFL did.
Yeah.
In that aspect. And so when I went through training camp with the Eagles, and they
That's
were
interesting.
Yeah, always has. I mean, if you look at in terms of social progress, the military has always been leading this.
They're usually ahead of the curve.
They use it because they have to recruit people from the American population, and so they have to understand what the American population wants and needs and how they operate, and then they have to cater their training to them.
Yeah.
And so when I went through the NFL, I was like, "Why are you, Jerry has an arrow? Like, why are you screaming at me,
I
Bob?"
was going to touch on him next.
Yeah.
You're a defensive end at 260. Like, do you think if we would have started you out as an offensive lineman, you would
Tight
have
end.
tight end?
Tight end. You would have never heard of Travis Kelce.
Let's go, baby.
Don't be fist pumping. You're
go,
lucky.
baby.
You're lucky.
No. I get it. I would have flanked my way into another
Nah,
position,
that's my
baby.
excuse because I never got a chance to play. I did score a touchdown once, but I never.
Go.
But I never. But
You
I
hit
never.
that stanky leg?
No, I just handed the
You hit
ball
the
to
gritty? Like,
I hand the ball to the referee like
Class
you know,
act.
like
Class
an
act.
lineman, exactly. I actually did this hilarious. So I'm in the military. I want to get out. I want to find a way to pay for business school. That's my goal. And then I got two choices. I can either go to American Idol or I can try to the NFL. I'm a horrible singer. And so I decide,
Oh, man, I was
because of
about to
this blackout conversation that I had with my teammates in Savannah, Georgia, they said, dude, they got this thing called the Regional Combine. And the Regional Combine, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but it was a scam, basically. It was like opening up the ability to play in the NFL to anybody.
What's the scam, though?
The scam is the fact that you're not going to go to the play in the NFL. So you pay $380.
Oh, so they make you pay to get in.
They make you pay. So it's crazy. I was so naive.
make you pay for
They
this?
make you pay to run a 40 and to do the 5 shuttle drill and to do. So when I was in Georgia, I was like, yeah, I can play in the NFL. You know, why not? And so I paid this admission fee, and I went to a tryout in Flowery Branch, Atlanta, which is the Falcons facility.
Yeah.
And I ran a 40, 5.15.
It's an offensive lineman, right?
No, for a tight end. And then I ran a couple routes. I think I dropped 1 out of 3. And then I ran the 5'10", whatever. And then the staff at the regional combine were like, we're trying to make a story out of it. Can you long snap?
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah, I can long
I
snap.
can do whatever you need.
Yeah, I can do whatever you
do
need.
it all.
But somehow it worked out, and I was able to go to the. Are you ready for it? Super regional combine, which was another.
How much is that one?
I think it was like $800. ended up paying off in the end.
Yeah.
But I had to fly to Detroit, and then I did the same exact workout, which is kind of like a regional, like a combine, the same
Sure.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about like you have bartenders there that have been watching TV forever, going like, I can play, I can score a touchdown. You got PE teachers, you got random people just trying out for the NFL.
Yeah.
So I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
And when I tried out for during the regional combine,
when you walked into that room, did you like look around like, oh, I fucking got this?
no, I've never been. I mean, maybe in the back of my head I was going through the motions, but I knew that it was I knew that it was a scam. I knew that there was no way that they were going to have a 41-year-old bartender or PE teacher, play safety for the Arizona Cardinals. It's impossible. It's extremely competitive. And I had the experience of the mini camps to know that you have to be an incredible athlete.
Well, I think your resume kind of stood out a little bit more than the bartender. And
you know what? That's all they were looking for. They were looking for stories that they could promote in this regional combine to encourage other players. So yeah, it felt a little bit like cryptocurrency type, like, hey, like, come on in, try out. You could be the next.
Great.
You could be the next Travis Kelce. I was like,
$100 million.
Yeah. So I tried out for the Super Regional Combine, and it just happens to be a scout for the Eagles was there.
What do you remember who it was?
Completely forgot. I mean, don't put me in the spot right now.
The scammiest of them
Howie
all,
Roseman, right?
the Eagles were there.
No, it wasn't Howie Roseman. But the fact that I was in the military attracted the Eagles enough.
The Eagles they search for stories all day. Dude,
It was.
Scammiest
It really was a story, And then so they invited me to do a workout during my block leave. So everything matched. I was able to hide everything from my chain of command. And then I went to Philadelphia, and they were like, okay, we're going to do a tight end workout. So I brought my tight end gloves. They did not do a tight end workout at all. I did a all offensive lineman workout with Stoutland, and he was like, "You're too light," And I was like, "Okay, well, that sucks." And then I did a D-line workout, and Jerry as an arrow said, "I'll take that motherfucker." He was like, I'll take him, I'll coach him. And
Jerry.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a great moment, I guess, in my intentions. But all I did when I was in the parking lot after doing the workout was Google the starting of defensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I was like, Fletcher Cox.
It's a pretty deep field.
Yeah, pretty deep.
I remember who it was. So Benny was the nose guard still. Was Benny there? Was it
Benny Logan, Fletch,
Vinny Curry,
Brandon Graham,
Was Connor there?
Connor Barwin.
Yeah, nice.
And then on top of that,
yeah.
once I signed this contract, which felt like, okay, maybe there's a chance here. Then they signed 2 defensive linemen in Taylor Hart and Bo Allen.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I knew that for a fact I was not going to make it. But I was able to stay with the team throughout OTAs in training camp.
Yeah.
And for me was,
That's huge, man.
Yeah, but for me, coming to the United States has always been like a movie for me, and being able to be, being in an NFL team and realizing the personalities, the characters, the different places that people are from, it was unbelievable. I think I still remember all the players, that were on the Philadelphia Eagles. Evan Mathis was one of my favorite human beings that I've ever met. All the Jason Peters, going against these players was amazing. But I knew in the back of my head that I was not going to make the roster, and it was very unfortunate because when I accepted and I signed the contract to become a camp body, which is what I was, I knew that I was resigning on my military career that I put so much effort into. So I was an XO.
The moment you signed that,
The moment I signed that, the military initiated a process to separate me from the military. And that's when I started driving back and forth from Savannah to Philadelphia. And so it was kind of like unfortunate the fact that I couldn't say no to the opportunity to play in the NFL. But at the same time, I knew I was not going to make it in the NFL. I knew they were not going to say, Fletch, great job here, but, we got this new player here from Spain who is 3 seconds late off the ball every single time.
Yeah, you definitely were green. You had not played in a long time. You had never played that position, and we're trying to figure that out. But you were also one of the first players, and probably the only player that I've seen cut Because you were cut after the third preseason game or second?
Third preseason game.
Third preseason game.
I was the first player to get cut.
Yeah.
But you told me about this.
So when you got cut, you were one of the first players I've ever seen where other players are like, what are we doing cutting that guy? He's a big, tall, athletic, strong dude. Like, he just started playing football 6 months ago. Why aren't we giving this guy a longer stint and seeing what he can do with like a full off season? And they tried to come back and sign you to practice squad, I believe, right?
Yes.
But you had already signed a deal with the Steelers, right?
I was in the Steelers office about to sign a practice squad deal, and then they called me from the Eagles saying like, "Hey, and I was like, dude, I can't say no. I already drove to Pittsburgh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it was literally just like that. I was like, I feel bad telling this man in front of me, I'm not going to sign with you. I'm going to go back to Philly. But for me, it was an incredibly emotional moment because leaving the military is extremely scary. You know, you no longer have bros around you, which is, you take that for granted. You know, to be able to wake up every morning and have bro, even the person who sits next to you in the locker room, the person you eat breakfast with. I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with men, you know, today. The fact that they don't have bros around you. And when you're in the NFL and you're within all these personalities, I meet your brother. Your brother, actually, by the way, was the person that told me that I was going to get cut.
I don't remember it like this, but he does.
The Eagles told him, Don, the security guy, is he still there?
Dom.
Dom. He told them that I was going to get cut, and for him to tell me that I was going to get cut. And so after the third preseason game, we played the Pittsburgh Steelers. We finished the game, and your brother was like, "Hey, what are you doing today? You know, I'm not doing anything. I'm going back to the hotel." I was like, why don't we go out? And we went out to a bar. We got absolutely blitz. And in the middle
After
of
the third preseason game, not a lot left for the starters.
Right. In the middle of like the I love you, man, you're the best, dude. He just drops out the dude, like, they're gonna cut you tomorrow, you know? Tomorrow, I'm just giving you the warning right now, they're gonna cut you tomorrow. And I was like, oh man, like, you mean they're gonna keep Fletcher Cox? Like,
What are they thinking?
Yeah, what are they thinking? Crazy. And so at that moment, this is crazy. This is like every Philadelphia person's dream. Kelsey said, dude, let's go out tonight. and we're both wearing flip-flops, and we're both wearing the same outfit he's wearing right now. And we went out in Philly. And I got a chance to go out in Philly with Jason Kelsey. You know, that's an incredible, that's amazing. Everybody knew who he was. We got into everywhere. I mean, for me to realize that Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love, you know, through Jason Kelsey, I mean, it's incredible. And so the next day I went to practice, which is kind of a dick move to let you finish practice.
Yeah, it is.
But I did recognize, and I want to give out sort of props to Chip Kelly in this. Chip Kelly had a philosophy that he was going to cut players a day before the rest of the NFL in order for those players to hit the portal one day before the rest. So you would have a chance to maybe catch on to another team. So the next day, I got the finger in the shoulder, go grab your playbook. You know, the Hard Knocks sort of like, oh wow, seems surreal. And it was like a moment where you're like, oh wow, like it's happening to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm meeting with all the coaches. Jerry Azanero told me that I should join the Susquehanna semi-pro football team. And then it was hilarious how every other person that I talked to that day, and this is the only thing that I got away from that day, which is a pretty terrible day, especially for most players who end their dreams that day. And they've been playing football since they were 3 years old, and then they get cut. Every single person that I talked to was like, dude, Al, you did incredible. You did absolutely everything that we asked you for. Like, is there anything that we can do for you? This is, we feel terrible. Is there anything in the world that we can do for you? And I'm like,
that's how you know you're doing things the right way, man.
No, man, seriously.
No, you give me a spot on the team, bro. Why you calling me?
There's one thing you can do for me.
I got it in the back of my head.
Yeah.
No, that's
So I got cut, and then the next day, I mean, it was like the stereotypical, like they give you Greg, who's the equipment guy, still the equipment guy. Yeah, I have so many other names. Yeah. So Greg gives you a black plastic bag, and you go to your locker, and then you pack up all your things. And then you walk out. It was like a summer night like this. It's raining, so you're walking in the rain to your car, and then the media's there taking pictures. Like, first person to get cut. We got a former Ranger, Villanueva. So you get in your car, and you're like, oh man, this sucks. And then I drove to my in-laws' house in Maryland, and I was like, wow, I'm out of the military and I'm out of the NFL. So I guess tomorrow I'm gonna go find a job. But they don't have internet, so I had to go to the public library to go apply for jobs. in the public library, and I'm sitting there filling out my resume. I don't even know what a resume is.
Yeah.
And that's when, a couple of days later, that's when the Steelers called me and they were like, hey, we want to bring you in for a workout. And so, that was a very a huge blessing, I guess, in the whole story.
And did they work you out as an offensive lineman right away?
No.
What did they start you as?
So surprisingly, I got 2 quarterback hits and 3 tackles against the Steelers.
Go, baby.
Yeah. I did well. That's why I thought I was going to get cut. I thought Brandon Graham was going to get cut. You know what I mean? But they worked me out as a defensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Mike Mitchell, who's a legendary defensive line coach, I think he did finish the workout, and he saw that my potential as a defensive lineman was always going to be capped by the fact that I just cannot get off the snap at the same time. And Mike Munchak, who's a guru, Munch. He's just a phenomenal human being. He worked me out. He did a couple of those combine tests of put your hands behind your back and do a set.
Squat set,
Squat, yeah. And so when he saw that, he was like, he said, I can use them. And then the next day, I came to practice, had a number in a locker, and then that was it. I was in practice squad. I was reading cards and, go at it.
So were you still at 260 or where
No. Both Lane Johnson and I were just as insecure about our weight, and we were just stuffing ourselves every single meal trying to gain as much weight as possible. And so I went into the Philadelphia Eagles at 265, 260, and then I left the Eagles at around 300. And by the time my practice squad year was over, I was at 344.
Oh,
so
you were big. You got really big in Pittsburgh.
My issue was that I did not have the experience. And so I remember Chip Kelly made everybody do a heart rate variation, piss test, and weight every single day. Yeah.
Now that's a scam.
Maybe not. I don't know. I was following orders, but I remember one day doing the weight behind Jason Peters. And I saw that he was 340.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, Jason Peters was my inspiration. I remember one day we were doing one-on-ones against him, and he looked at me and he said, I'm going to put you in the trunk. And I said, because nobody wanted to go against him one-on-ones. And I was like, I'll go against him. I'll show him. I'll give him a move. And he looked at me and he said, I'm going to put you in the trunk. And I said, I don't see But I always thought, I looked up to Jason Peters so much. He was so talented. He was meant to play the tackle position. Matter of fact, my stance, my sets, everything was after Jason Peters.
Right.
And so I thought 340 was the weight that you had to achieve, because you could overcome a lot of, technical deficiencies if you're just really big.
Come on into the big man.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I thought that if I weighed 340, then I would overcome a lot of my deficiencies in technique that I did not have because I did not play the position for very long. So I always try to gain weight, even though now looking back, it makes no sense. There's no need to be that heavy. You're gonna obviously get really tired really quick. But 340 was the weight that I had to achieve.
So you gained 90 pounds in what, 2 years?
In a year, yeah. So by the time it was by the time,
a good 90.
Dude,
it wasn't a good 90.
Sloppy? Did you feel sloppy? Did you feel?
We were talking about it earlier when we were at the bar. It's very difficult to recreate pain. It's very difficult to recreate. And everybody always looks at me and it's like, oh my God, you look amazing. Like, didn't you feel better? I was like, I don't know. You can feel. I cannot imagine what I was like when I was 340. I do remember that to use the toilet, I would have to put my hand in between my legs and lower myself because my knees hurted so much in the morning.
How many times did you break the seat doing that?
No, man, I broke absolutely everything. But 340 was, if you 6'9", I mean, another thing that I must say is not beneficial to be so tall playing tackle. Yeah. It really isn't.
You want to have long arms, but you don't necessarily want to be tall.
Exactly. I'm not made to be a tackle. I'm made to be a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Win multiple Super Bowls. That's what I use you.
We could use you.
But I was, I was a little bit too tall, and so for me, I thought that talking about Andrew Whitworth. I saw the guys in my division, and I saw, you know what, I gotta gain weight. I gotta gain weight. It was an obsession that I had when I was playing. It was always to make sure that I was as big as possible, to be able to absorb the number one and only move the 99.999% of edge rushers use, which is
bull rush.
The bull rush, exactly.
So you go to Pittsburgh, especially in the AFC North. That's a bull rush.
It's a bull rush, yeah, for sure.
Or division. So you go to Pittsburgh, first year practice squad. Second year, Beachum gets hurt, right? That's how you initially got in the game.
Yeah. So first year practice squad. I mean, I would have to say that the practice squad year, now looking back, was the most amazing year that I spent in the NFL because I would get 2 tickets to the game. the Steelers don't allow the practice squad players on the sidelines.
So you'd have to sit in the stands?
So I would go sit in the stands, get absolutely housed, you know?
Yeah.
And I would sit like next to my brother and be like,
redshirt year in college.
yeah.
Just throwing that yellow towel up in the air with
Throwing the yellow
everybody
towel,
else.
and I remember
Let's go team!
I remember sitting with my brother going like, oh, I know the playbook. This is a pass. You know, and they would run the ball. You know?
I've seen this one before.
I've seen this one. They're going to watch. They're going to pass it, you know.
And here comes the reverse.
But it was awesome. It was awesome to go to the games in Pittsburgh, to feel the energy, to watch the game from the
Football
stands.
town, man.
Yeah, 100%. It was
town.
incredible.
Yeah.
To tailgate and, you know, to be able to go to the bars before and after and get to experience the city of Pittsburgh, which was the first city that I actually lived in, you know, after the military. So the transit, becoming a veteran is a process. And I thought that there was no better city than Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh had the highest concentration of Vietnam veterans in the nation.
Really?
That's
I
awesome.
didn't know that.
It was the deer hunter generation. It was either you go to the mills or you go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so Vietnam, for any infantryman, especially that was, you know, born in 1988, was kind of like the reference or the most romanticized version of an infantryman. You know, all the training that you do in the military was always based on Vietnam, doing a patrol base, river crossings. And I was like, I don't know, there's a lot of rivers in Afghanistan, but, you know, we'll go ahead and
Pretty dry.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and do this river crossing, you know, and whatnot. So it was an amazing year. And then I had a chance to go. I mean, honestly, what I thought made my career, my confidence to be able to play the tackle position is the fact that, you know, 3 days into my practice squad days, Jame Harrison decides to come out of retirement and join the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I got a chance to go against Jame Harrison every single day during practice. And Jame Harrison is an incredible human being, you know, in his own ways, but he's a phenomenal football player.
Leverage.
And he has and he's very smart, you know.
Kent State.
Right. And so for me, it was really interesting to learn how to observe an outside linebacker by going against Jame Harrison.
Yeah.
That to me was incredible. You know, if he knew that the slide was coming, and we're getting a little too technical, but if he knew,
hey, let's do it.
If
you
he
knew the slide was coming, meaning the guard has your inside.
Exactly. What he would do is he would start inching to the inside, so you would not set out. You know.
Yeah.
He would start getting inside, thinking he was going to do an inside move.
Yeah.
So you would
getting you to stop your feet.
Getting you to stop your feet.
Yeah.
And then he would try to do the little
rip, lean on you, and then
no rip. Put the arm down, clamp it, break your arm, and then spin around and pivot onto the quarterback.
For those of you that did not watch Jame Harrison with any type of technical standpoint, he had the most vicious dip and rip move for about a decade. I mean, he would get so low, he would lock this in, and he was so strong.
Super strong.
Once it was locked in, there was nothing you could do.
Scream.
Because then he would just lift you off the ground, and now you're.
Well, he actually wasn't as much of a bull rusher as you would think.
Yeah, he didn't really go down the middle of guys very often. He would do it occasionally.
He would set you up for it.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started.
The dip and rip was his main.
That was his main move. That's when, like, we're playing Kansas City. He needs to get a sack to win the game. He's going to dip and rip, and he's going to try to get to the
called the flag that game. I know which one you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel very privileged to go against a player who was also undrafted and also had a very unconventional way to get into the NFL.
It's incredible. Really.
He would never give you any compliments and everything, but he had his own ways of being able to coach you and guide you in the right direction. And so for me, I spent a whole year in practice squad going against him.
Blocking him. And
so once I felt that I could block him, and I will say it, if I'd have faced him in a game, I would have blocked him.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
I've told him to his face. This is not the first time.
Is that just because you knew what he was coming with?
Now, I guess what you had to do was hide your outside shoulder.
Just don't let him get that.
So don't let him
get that clamp.
So show him the square, and then last minute turn your shoulder and hide it away from him.
Yeah,
and he would try to get it. You know what I mean? But he couldn't get it, so you will have to block him like this.
Yeah.
But again, obviously, I'm just talking smack right now. You know what I mean? You'll never know what happens. But he was a huge part of my development. And so Pittsburgh had an incredible offensive line: Marquise Pouncey, Marcus Gilbert, Ramon Foster, David DeCastro. They were
great coach and Munch.
Coach and Munch.
You guys were at the top of the league for a long time, man.
I hate rankings. You know, don't PFF me right now.
We're not PFFing. We're just saying you're one of the better offensive lines in the league.
Press play. That's what I'm ranking.
Travis is on record as saying that the only reason PFF pays agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
everybody knows that, Collinsworth.
Right. But what But I think what I'm saying is the offensive line was very established, and they were very mature, and they had a culture of work that was established through incredible leaders. And because of that, I was able to identify some of the common themes in the military: work hard, and fortunately and unfortunately, my whole goal, obviously, we talked about business school. When I was in practice squad, all I was doing was applying to business schools. Yeah. Getting my GMAT. I had to get my GMAT done like 37 times to be able to get into Carnegie Mellon, which was, in Pittsburgh. Yeah. And start my MBA. And so during the weekends, I was doing my homework. When Kelvin Beachum was getting ready. Yeah, when Kelvin
can't work one job. You got to work two. You're a two-job kind of guy.
But I never thought I was going to make it in the NFL. I never thought for once.
Even when you stopped Jame Harrison in practice, you're like, nah.
Yeah, I was always like, because here's the reality about the NFL is that you get labeled as an undrafted guy. Yeah, it's not the same as being a drafted.
No, I hear you.
It's hard. You got to do above and beyond to break.
Yeah,
break through.
Right. So I'm 26 by the time I start.
Like for you, if Kelvin Beachum never gets hurt, if you don't get that opportunity, maybe who knows, right?
No, but not only Kelvin Beachum gets hurt. Mike Adams went to Ohio State, also got hurt. So two guys in front of me get hurt, right? In order for me to have a chance to play. Yep. I never. It was never in my plans to play in the NFL. I just wanted 1 year's salary, which back then was $480,000.
Not right now,
right?
To be able to pay for business school and then move on with my life. That was my only goal out of the NFL. I didn't want anything out of the NFL other than paying for business school. It just so happened that Pittsburgh had an amazing business school right there and there in Carnegie Mellon. And so that's all I cared about. On the weekends, when Kelvin Beachum is studying the playbook and doing the tests and all of that, I was doing my homework and I was getting ready for Monday in class. But unfortunately, one day he gets hurt. He gets hurt and playing against the Cardinals, and it's like one of those like, hey, Al, come on, let's go. And that's when the oh my God,
oh, this is happening.
I gotta go.
This is happening. It's like when you get to the top of the room.
Was Chandler Jones there?
It was Dwight Freeney.
Ooh,
and Calais Campbell.
The human hurricane.
Gosh, bro.
Yeah.
So, rough first start.
100%.
Did you get a nice inside spin?
100%. I got the spin. And I remember it's hilarious because when you go in there,
like it's coming.
You're like, hey, I'm going to hide this outside shirt. Whoa!
I remember going into the field. It was Coach Tomlin, Munchak, Todd Haley going like, he's got an inside spin. I was like, I got inside spin. I got it. And sure enough, first third down, inside spin. Fortunately, like every quarterback, like every offensive lineman say, like balls out.
Balls out, baby.
And so
that was getting out.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was my first start.
That play call.
And then after that, I started the rest of the season. It was incredible because we made a good playoff run. And I thought that year we were going to win the Super Bowl had it not been for Peyton Manning giving himself up, standing up, and converting a third down, which I think later got changed. I think it's the Peyton Manning rule now.
There's a Peyton Manning rule?
I think if you give yourself up as a quarterback, you give yourself as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because I think either Jame Harrison or somebody was about to sack him, or William Gay on a blitz was about to sack him.
Yes.
But Peyton Manning gave himself up. Like he went down to the ground.
Yeah.
So he was so he went down. All right. As long as he went down to the ground.
No, he went down as in like, please don't murder me.
Yeah.
And so the nickel backer just kind of like ran by him. And then he stood up.
Oh, so they didn't blow it dead.
They didn't blow it dead, and it was the fourth quarter. We're about to win the game.
So he Kenny Picketed it. He did the fake
slide?
Fake slide?
I don't know what Kenny Pickett did. Yeah.
Peyton, oh man, I didn't know that was the Peyton.
But that year was like,
hey, heads up play, Peyton. Tell you what, they didn't touch you.
But that year was incredible because my first year as a starter, I got a chance to play against DeMarcus Ware. I got a chance to play against incredible football players, and so, it was a really cool process to be able to go from, I'm trying to play in the NFL so I can pay for business school to like now I got to hide the fact that I'm going to business school because I don't want anybody to think like, are you really paying as much attention to the football field? Yeah, you're not focused and whatnot.
You don't want to start a podcast or anything?
Right.
All right, before we pass up Pittsburgh, you played for Mike Tomlin for 7 years?
7 years, yeah.
What was that like?
Mike Tomlin is a one of a kind. I think sometimes I get a little pissed off when I see him because I know that he can have a much bigger role in society than being a head coach. He's got incredible leadership skills, incredible charisma. And
Mike Tomlin selling himself short?
No, 100% he's selling himself short. 100%, that's for sure. But I think he sees people for, where they're from. Mm-hmm. He was a college, he appreciates and he values when coaches have been to college. Because not only have they been able to coach a player when they have no one else. If you're a coach in the NFL, you say, like, draft me another center. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Coach Tomlin was somebody who believed in coaching, and he believed in being a part of your success story. And so for me, obviously, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
But he's also incredibly interested in geography and where people are from, within the United States. And so because of that, I was always extremely fascinated. You know, you could say that guy comes from Georgia. He played in the SEC. He achieved a lot of success. The transition to the NFL is going to be X, you know? And so that to me was incredibly fascinating. And, you know, I had an incredible relationship with him, helped me out tremendously. He wants to be part of your dream and the vision that you have for yourself. And so for me was an amazing time to be able to spend time with somebody as remarkable and as fascinating as Coach Tomlin.
I mean, I've had a few conversations with him, and I know everybody speaks to the absolute world of him, man. So, Coach Tomlin, we're going to need you to run for president.
100%.
Jason, you want to touch on?
Yeah, let's get, so, you know, football career obviously is an incredible part of your journey, but the beginning, I guess, of your football career was at Army, right? Was that the first time you played football?
No, so this is hilarious. I went to the most fascinating high school, I think. I mean, obviously, you both of you went to probably successful high school, Prom Kings and all that stuff.
Come to Cleveland Heights, baby.
Yeah. Right. It's
pretty fascinating.
5-5. It's the best record I had in high school.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think mine was.
We had a lot of talent.
Mine was 5
Good
and 5.
kids,
I was a long snapper on that team. Keep going.
I went to high school in Belgium. So high school, I did a year in the Canary Islands, a year in Rotterdam Naval Station, and then my last 2 years I was in Belgium at a high school called SHAPE. That stands for Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers Europe. And it was an American high school for all NATO kids. Mm-hmm. So all the kids that were in my class were from all the different NATO countries. So I would have a German kid next to sitting next to me. Is NATO going over his head right now?
Do you know what NATO? I don't even want to do this.
It's got to be an acronym, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is an acronym. So my high school experience was incredible. And obviously it's what led to me deciding to come to the United States. Discovering football was also when I discovered Europe. So I got a chance to go to the Vatican, watching the Chappelle Show for the first time on a portable DVD player.
At the Vatican? They're playing it at the Vatican?
No. But I'm saying like when we're on the bus.
Which episode?
All of them.
Game.
You know, all of them. I mean, for me, I was discovering American culture.
Yeah.
And then I was discovering all of Europe.
Mm-hmm. You started to discover American culture through Dave Chappelle?
Through Dave Chappelle, yeah.
This is fucking awesome.
100%. It was incredible.
It's coming in hot.
And so for me, it was amazing to see Western culture through this high school. You know, to travel all throughout Europe. I guess football was like a medium for me to get to know American culture. And then obviously when I went to West Point, it was the same way, because in West Point, you have a fairly equal representation of the United States within each graduating class.
So you go right to West Point. Why'd you go to West Point?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I had a Euro mullet when I was in high school.
A Euro mullet?
Yeah.
I've never even heard that term.
Is there a difference from the Euro mullet than the...
The Euro mullet is not as...
Just have gel in it?
No. The Euro mullet is not as obscene maybe as the American 80s mullet.
Gotcha.
Oh.
It's more like the soccer player mullet.
Yeah, it's a little more styled up.
Yeah. So I had,
classier mullet.
Right. I didn't speak English very well. Obviously, my mind was, I was European. Like I was centered around, European culture and whatnot. And then when we played Naples, so we took a trip. We stayed in a gym, and we were in the gym, and that was the time where people had the portable DVD players. Mm-hmm. There was a kid on the football team captain, who was watching the movie Black Hawk Down. Mm-hmm. And he was watching the movie, and he was in tears. He was just completely crying watching the movie. And I was like, I've never, me personally, especially my family, like crying. I know that maybe for the Kels it's different, but for me, crying is big like, cryers. Yeah, like why are you crying? You know what I mean? This guy, man, he said something I'll never forget. I was like, why are you crying? Watching a movie that happened in 1991 or whenever Somalia happened. And he said, I'm sad and upset because I cannot be there to help him. Mm-hmm. He's watching a movie and he's suffering because he cannot be there to help him. Yeah. So then I started realizing, the sentiment that people that join the military have, which is very different from the rest of the world in the sense that it's an all-volunteer force. People volunteer to be in the United States military. And that's a huge concept because a lot of militaries have aristocracies or families that are into the military, and then the kids join the military. But in America, it's anybody,
Mandatory service or whatever it is, yeah.
And so my math teacher, who's one of my favorite teachers from Pittsburgh as well, he told me, I was getting looked at to play basketball, to play football in the United States. And he said, don't go to college to play sports. Play sports to go to college.
Sure.
For me, it was really difficult to understand this concept because most European sports are not played in college. Mm-hmm. They're played at a club level. but athletes have to give up their education to play sports.
Wow.
But in the United States, it's paired up. In the United States, I know the NCAA and the NIL is a little bit controversial, and you can argue that in 1,000 different ways. But the fact that they're educating athletes is a huge advantage in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was an opportunity to be able to go into an amazing school if I was willing to serve. And so I went to both the Naval Academy and the Military Academy. Always wanted to be a Marine. A Marine was my dream. I always wanted to be the few, the proud, the Marine.
So you went to Naval first?
I went to the Naval Academy first.
Okay.
They barely, they were like, yeah. They knew where Rhoda Naval Station was because Rhoda is a naval station. So they were very familiar with where I was from. And they were like, to play college football, you got to be like an athlete. This is not something you just sign up for and whatnot. So they were not very welcoming, and during my visit. But then I just drove up all the way to West Point, and West Point was incredibly welcoming. And I think one of the traits about the Army is that in the Army, you truly have to know where your soldiers are from. Not only do you have to love them, but you have to know everything about them in order to love them. And so they were extremely interested about where I was from. They were very interested about my background. I got a chance to spend a night with a player who volunteered to host me for the night. And I know that most college host, sort of events are like crazy and parties, but dude, we just sat in a laptop and we watched videos of the Iraq War, And he was telling me how excited he was to join the Army so he can fight alongside his brothers. And so at that moment, I found a cause and I said, you know what? He told me about the Ranger Regiment. He told me about the Ranger culture. He told me about the United States Army. He told me about all the different divisions, the infantry and whatnot. And at that moment I saw it. I was like, okay, you know what? This is the second time that I see this. If people are so committed to serving and they're committed to serving in this type of way, sticking their face in the fan, I don't care if I'm 6'10", I'm going to do this. And so I was 17 years old. I applied. I got accepted. And then I just took a flight one day, landed to Newark, wink at the Statue of Liberty on my way in, and I started at West Point. And so that was sort of my adventure into the Americas with the same mentality of like, there's no coming back from this. I'm coming here and I'm going to make my future. I don't know anybody in this country. I'm going to try to make the best out of it. And in the infantry, the Rangers, the culture of being able to be in the front lines at the tip of the spear was always something that was very, very much in the forefront of my thoughts. And it was a different time as well. I have to recognize, back between the ages of 2006, 2010, when I was at the academy, between all the alpha males at West Point, there was a race to get to combat. It wasn't that people were shying away from combat. People were trying to get to combat before the war was over. And so thankfully I had a good enough class rank to select the unit of my choice. So I was drafted, to the division that I wanted, which is 10th Mountain Division.
Why'd you want to go there?
Because I got a tip hours before I selected that unit that they were going to get reassigned from Iraq into Afghanistan, and they were going to go to Zari District in Kandahar, which was the most kinetic place in the war. And so I said, I got to be in 10th Mountain Division. 10th Mountain Division is one of the units that deploys the most. Also one of the units in Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
And so, I said, 10th Mountain Division it is. Upstate New York, not an ideal place for most, cadets. Usually want to go to Italy. They want to go to places that are a little fun. But I wanted to go to 10th Mountain Division because I knew they would deploy. So I graduated in May. I took a couple weeks of leave, shortened my leave in order to accomplish all my training as fast as possible because I knew that they were deploying in March. And I completed all my training, Infantry Basic Officer Leadership course, Ranger Leadership course, Airborne School, and then I showed up to my unit and I deployed a week later.
Man, that's awesome.
It's crazy, right?
That's awesome.
But it's not that crazy when you take into account that everybody was trying to do that. I was just able to maneuver.
Everybody in your circle.
Everybody in the inner circle of West Point, the class of 2010, which is when I graduated. They were all trying to go.
You said that was one of the most kinetic areas. What do you mean? But what made that area
so it's
such a center point? I guess in Afghanistan.
So Afghanistan is an interesting country called the graveyard of empires. It's been a country that has been trying to, many empires have tried to conquer Afghanistan throughout the ages. It sits in the middle between Asia and Europe, in one of these, these quote unquote trade routes, between the two. So it's always been a very natural area of interest for all empires to control sort of the center of the chess table.
Sure.
And Kandahar is one of the oldest cities in Western culture. It was founded officially, I guess, by Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great named it after him, like many other cities throughout, his territory. So Kandahar actually comes from Iskandar, which is how you pronounce Alexander in their language. And from Iskandar, you develop Kandahar. And so Kandahar is actually the de facto capital of Afghanistan in the sense that it does have the most influence in the culture of Afghanistan. So Afghanistan is a country that is divided into many different tribes, many different, areas, ethnic groups. The Pashtuns are the ethnic group that was generating the most amount of insurgents. They were protecting the terrorists that we were going after. And Kandahar was sort of the de facto capital. So Mullah Omar, who's the founder of the Taliban, was from the village that I was in, from Zari district.
Yeah.
And so because of that, obviously, it was a tremendous stronghold for the Taliban that they had to hold, they had to maintain. A lot of variables influenced this. The fact that they were very close to Pakistan. So just like in Vietnam, being able to go in the summer, conduct attacks on U.S. forces, and then retreat back to Pakistan where they're safe, made Kandahar and all the provinces that were on the border with Pakistan the most kinetic areas, meaning there was the most amount of incidents where you have attacks on ISAF forces.
And you were there for how many months?
First deployment was 12 months, and then I deployed to RCE. So the way that the United States divided Afghanistan was into regional commands. So you have a regional command south. I'm looking at Travis's face right now.
I'm not much different than him, dude.
No,
This is completely new to me.
I know.
Well, then you're doing better than me.
So when the United States invaded Afghanistan, they started conducting operations. They divided the country into regional commands. So regional command south, and I think involved Zabul, Kandahar, Helmand province, maybe Herat. I'm not sure about Herat. RC East was all the provinces that were on the eastern border, Konar, Paktika, Khost, Ghazni, Wardak, RC North. So you have different areas of the country that you could be assigned to.
Sure.
Just think of it as a chessboard. Remember the middle of the chessboard, the east, south. Just think of it like that.
Right. So my first deployment was to RC South, and that's the desert. So the desert is, I could be a weatherman for Afghanistan right now. It's going to be 110 degrees every single day and sunny, and it's there's not a single
fun.
Yeah, it's a desert, but it is incredibly interesting.
You guys get to wear tank tops if it's too hot?
No. You're wearing uniform, you're sweating as much as you can.
Yeah.
You start actually questioning whether. I remember again pseudoscience. Like the
pseudoscience.
the whole thing about like drinking water. I always thought that the whole thing about drinking water was all promoted by bottled water companies and Gatorade and whatnot.
You just think you didn't need to drink water.
If you drink a lot of water, you're going to be sweating a lot. You're going to be losing a lot of water, and you're going to be incredibly uncomfortable. The Afghans are not drinking water, like pounding water.
So you're saying that we don't need to drink water?
I did not drink as much water either when I was in the NFL playing or when I was in Afghanistan because I did not want to sweat consistently. Now, I know, I got it, whatever. Yeah, go out to Afghanistan, put on 70 pounds of gear, long sleeve boots, and start doing patrols up and down for 14 hours.
But Tom Brady said that sunburn is a direct result of dehydration.
I don't get sunburned, I don't know about you guys. I don't get sunburned. But
you have a different complexion.
Yeah. Right. So
I will get torched.
But Kandahar was an incredible city, not only because of the history that I just mentioned. It's one of the oldest settlements of human civilization, but because they grew grapes, and talk about the farming thing.
How do they grow grapes without water?
The water comes from the mountains.
Do you understand how grapes? God damn.
It's kind of like the Napa Valley. Very, very similar.
You
have the mountains out in the east, and all the water melts.
The grapes are better when there's no rain.
Your brother's teaching you right now, son.
You're the fruit farmer too.
Grow up, Jason.
Yeah, 2 on 1. But it was an agricultural, community. They grew pomegranates. They grew grapes on the legal side, and then on the illegal side, they grew a lot of marijuana and they grew a lot of opiates. So
I remember you showing me a picture.
Right.
Of a marijuana plant taller than you.
Yeah. I took way too many marijuana pictures when I was over there.
Yeah. It was a pretty impressive marijuana plant.
Yeah.
It's like when you take the pumpkin to the state fair.
Yeah.
This is a marijuana plant you take to the state fair.
Yeah. But it was
a big one.
I'm not going to lie, I get a lot of street credit throughout my life when I was showing videos and you're walking through fields that are miles and miles long of nothing but marijuana plants. And they get hash out of that. It supplies, other European markets. But Kandahar was a very fascinating city. The first thing you notice is it kind of looks like the Bible. It looks just, houses are made out of mud, People live very, rustic sort of lives, except for cell phones, and motorcycles. You would think that you're in, Abraham's time.
Yeah. So you ended up doing 3 tours in Afghanistan. In what ways did that like transform you into like who you are today, I guess?
Every infantryman, every person that goes into Afghanistan, especially for the first time, they have this romanticized idea of what it's like to be a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
You do have this idea of all the movies that you've watched that you're going to make a huge difference, that you're going to be
Rambo.
But not even Rambo, but you're going to be doing something for your country that is going to or have a direct relationship with the safety of those that are back home, right? And then when you get to Afghanistan, you realize that it's a lot more complex. And nothing is what it seems, I mean, just to give you a perspective, right now we're having a relationship with the Taliban. We supply them and we try to help them. And you don't know who's a good guy. You don't know who's a bad guy. The people from Afghanistan always had the backs of the Taliban. The Taliban is their sons and daughters. Well, not daughters, but their sons, And it was very frustrating to be able to go to a country where your mission was to protect the people from Zari district and everything that you do, and then get to a country where you're not being welcome or they're not cooperating with the information, where you feel like, hold on a minute, so you guys don't want us to be here, liberating you guys from the Taliban? My first deployment was very frustrating in that sense. We were what's called a battle space owner. So we had an area of operations. In my case, it was Sanjare village. We had a cop that was around Highway 1, and we conducted operations, daily out of the cop. And, at first you're just trying to be like, hey, we're going to deny the Taliban freedom of movement. We know there's a lot of Taliban going around here. We're going to get kicked out of here, But then you realize that the people from the city of Sanjare are, hosting these people, and they're helping and they're giving them information. And so then you start questioning, okay, so what are we doing here? And then you stand up the Afghan National Police and the Afghan National Army, and you realize that their motivations are not aligned with what you're trying to do. You hear from politicians that you're not there to nation build. That was one of the biggest things that they always, said, you're not here to nation build. But we were nation building.
Yeah.
So you're not trained to nation build. You're trained to conduct fire drills, and you're trained to do, maneuver on the enemy and whatnot. And that's not at all what we were doing. And so that then kills a little bit of your romantic dream, of the things that you were going to be doing. Then again, you start understanding a little bit of more like how the United States operates. So you understand that very quickly that almost the majority of people that you see in Afghanistan are military contractors. They're not people in uniform, with a U.S. flag. They're military contractors that are contracted because it's cheaper for the United States government to contract somebody than to give them benefits for life.
Wow.
And so when you start seeing that, then you start questioning, what are the effort, are we all aligned on a clear objective? And when you start seeing the amount of money that is being generated and the amount of money that is being made, by defense contractors, then you start questioning whether everybody's on the same page, and a lot of people maybe are not, as interested in finishing the war or having a clear strategy. And I think that was one of the biggest themes, is that you didn't think that there was a clear strategy to come up with a decisive win.
Solution,
Positive.
Yeah,
outcome.
in football, whoever's got the most points wins.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest question in Afghanistan was, what does winning look like? What does winning in Afghanistan look like? What is going to look like in the end? And I thought, after I served one of the training camps, DeCastro and I used to watch documentaries during training camp. And we watched the Vietnam documentary by Ken Burns, which is one of the greatest documentaries that I've ever seen. And you watch that there was a lot of the same themes, between the Vietnam War and Afghanistan, and how in the end, the relationship that we have with Vietnam over the years was able to sort of, even after the war, you were able to establish a good relationship with the country of Vietnam. And so even though it didn't look like a win, for the American people, in the end, it was very positive. So maybe as a veteran, I'm waiting for that end result, that we will have a good relationship with Afghanistan in the future, however it looks, that I will be able to go back with my boys, when I'm older, and I'm able to go hike the mountains of Afghanistan. That would be incredible. But especially in the last few years when the war ended, when you saw those images of people climbing out to the plains, it was not an easy pill to swallow. The fact that you've done all this, that you were completely, devoted to this cause, and it did not ended up panning out like you thought it would when you were 21 years old. So, a lot of interesting concepts about how the U.S. military operates. And it's crazy because I was born out of that sort of cause. The United States sells weapons and aircraft to NATO countries, and then those pilots have to come to the United States to train, and that's how I was born. So it is kind of like a full circle sort of situation, scenario. But, very unfortunate. I feel extremely passionate about all the soldiers who lost their lives in the war in Afghanistan. I also feel extremely passionate about the loss of life and the loss of a way of life that we caused and we inflicted, and the people from Afghanistan, And so ultimately, I think Americans have extremely romantic ideals, but the reality is a lot more complicated than those, Black Hawk Down, Saving Private Ryan type of, moments that motivate you to do something good.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing.
Jesus,
that, brother.
man. That's all right. Well, let's bring this down a little bit. You became a Ranger. How does one become a Ranger?
So there's actually two sort of versions of a Ranger. So the Rangers were an all-volunteer force during World War II. They were created, and again, I'm not a history major, but I think they were, and I had to know this at one point, but they were...
You're a West Point major.
I'm a West Point major, yeah. So they were established in Ireland, So before, if you watch the movie Saving Private Ryan, those were Rangers. They were all volunteer soldiers who became part of a unit that was tasked to do a different type of mission sets.
Okay.
And so the Rangers have an incredible history and incredible reputation, quiet professionals. They're not about making movies and being on podcasts, with famous...
Which ones are you're not going to name names, though?
Of who?
Of the what regiment is about making movies?
It's not about a regiment. It's no. But all jokes aside, all units in the military are incredibly different and unique in their own ways. But the Rangers are a very specific and interesting unit because they both serve, especially as an officer, in the conventional army, and then they also serve in the Ranger Regiment. So they go back and forth. And the charter of the Rangers is to be able to bring the values, the techniques, and the tactics from the Ranger Regiment into the big army. Mm-hmm. So the Ranger Regiment, Ranger culture created a Ranger school, which is if you go straight through, it's a 3-month course, leadership course, where they put you into a lot of different stress situations. They teach you how to patrol, and they evaluate you in that, and it gives you the Ranger tab. And then if you want to join a Ranger unit, then you have to go through RASP, which is Ranger Assessment and Selection Process. It takes place in Fort Benning, Georgia, and then you become a member of a Ranger unit. So we currently have 3 regiments and a support training battalion. 1st Ranger Battalion out of Savannah, Georgia, Hunter Airfield, 2nd Ranger Battalion out of Fort Lewis, Washington, and 3rd Ranger Battalion in Fort Benning, Georgia. Yeah. And so for me, they're not a big unit, but during the years of the war, they rotated every 4 months. So every 4 months you're deployed, 8 months you're home, 4 months you're deployed. And so for me, it was the fastest way to get back to being a leader in combat. And so that's why I wanted to go join the Rangers.
And was it at Fort Benning where you get hunted for a week or something like that, where you have to try and not get caught?
That's in Fort Rucker. That's
Fort Rucker, okay.
Yeah. That's the training they do, especially for pilots and for people that are in situations where you have to resist, torture and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Did you have to do that?
No, I did not do that.
Oh, okay.
I did Ranger School, Airborne School.
6'10", trying to hide, man. Good luck.
It can happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the, you don't have to answer, but we got to ask.
Go ahead. I'm going to answer all of them.
Here we go. Alejandro, this is the segment where we actually ask you questions that you don't have to answer. First one, did you really teach Juju Smith-Schuster how to drive?
I did not teach Juju Smith-Schuster how to drive. He's an excellent video game player. But I did teach him, and I did help him get his driver's license because he was still in the LA mentality that he can Uber everywhere, when in reality he had to go through the process of being able to get a driver's license.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Did you get the Steelers to use the, quote, dilly dilly from the Bud Light commercials?
I did.
You did? Well, how'd that come about?
So, as you both know, because you guys are both offensive players, cadence is like an offensive tackle's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you have an experienced offensive line, if you hear Monday, January, Alpha,
right, yeah,
it's going to be on one. And so we were trying.
Don't give it out to the D linemen that don't know this.
Dude, if you're a defensive lineman and you hear Monday, and you have a player from San Diego State who's a rookie, coming in from the practice squad, it's on one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry, I ruined the NFL season football video.
Damn, we've got to change our one count now.
We don't use Monday.
But yeah, no. So we were the commercial was going on. It was hilarious, and Ben liked the whole dilly thing. So we used it, and I guess it became viral because they're taping all the. It was a Thursday night game, I think, and then we used the dilly.
Yeah, we actually did Philly for the Philly special play.
Oh, cool, tight. Was it an illegal play?
Or
perhaps.
I mean, they didn't call it so.
Okay, cool.
It's legal.
Who complains more, troops or football players?
Offensive linemen complain. It's the only way we can get through life.
It's a miserable position.
100%. There's no upside. There's zero upside.
The upside is you do your job.
Yeah. The upside.
The downside is you get crushed in front of the entire
they're only going to
stadium.
show. They're not going to show you when you're scoring a touchdown. They're going to show you when you give a penalty, when you make a mistake. So in order to utilize defense mechanisms, you're going to complain the most.
It's a life of misery.
100%. So I only know, offensive linemen, and so I'm going to say 100%.
And the best way to bond is through shared misery.
100%. But soldiers complain a lot too. So I don't know. Maybe I won't have to answer that one because they both complain a lot. And
They're both.
I'm a PhD complainer.
Which complaints are more warranted, soldiers or offensive linemen?
Soldiers for sure. 100%. Going back to the conversation that we had earlier, I did feel one of the things about the war that I felt the most guilty about was standing in front of my men when they would ask questions like, "Sir, what are we doing here?" and have to give them like a political speech.
Sure.
As to all the things that we were doing, empty promises and whatnot. And so I think their complaints are more warranted and they carry a little more weight for sure.
Makes sense. This is a huge controversy in the world, but mostly on this show. How many holes does a straw have?
2.
Did you just count the ends, or did you actually think about it?
I mean, I counted what's the definition of a hole and how many of that, applies.
I'm with you. Listen, we're in the same.
These are supposed to be really quick questions, so we'll keep moving. Do you believe that you don't need to use body wash when taking a shower?
Dude, I'm the worst person I'm an organic farmer. You know what I mean? So I don't use
You just told me you don't use deodorant.
I don't use deodorant. I don't brush my teeth. I don't do anything.
You don't brush your teeth.
The whole brushing your teeth.
You don't even drink water.
Is that this conspiracy?
The brushing.
So you don't need water and you don't need to brush your teeth.
Why is it that 9 out of 10 dentists recommend? Like, what's up with that one dentist?
I'm with you. I'm a big one time, because it doesn't make sense to brush in the morning. You haven't eaten anything all night. I get brushing at night.
Dude, I have zero cavities, zero everything. I don't go to the dentist. I mean, where's the wood?
You got good genetics, Alejandro.
But maybe that's what it is. But I did feel when you come to the United States that everything is consumerism and trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
And brushing your teeth, using deodorant, all that stuff. It's just bottled water. I think it's just things that are trying to sell you and then create a marketing campaign behind it to say, like, you got to brush your teeth 3 times a day.
Speaking of that, if you guys are looking for extra energy, you guys need to check out Accelerator. The actually natural way to take in energy and caffeine. Thermogenics. Plant-based thermogenics.
Yeah, I did want to ask one more. What is a harder transition, leaving the military or leaving the NFL?
So I feel like most people decide to become a soldier right before high school. When they look at their choices, very, very few service members always knew that they want to become a soldier. Mm-hmm. I'm obviously inculcating that into my son. He will become an urban ranger. He has no choice, But people decide to become a football player from a very early age. And I've noticed that. Their identity becomes a football player. So I've seen pictures of you, both of you, in your little pads, like, you know what I mean? The Kelsey brothers. Look at, let's talk about the Kelsey brothers one more time, facing each other in the Super Bowl. Most players.
So you were sick of it too. Got it.
Exactly. By the way, I've been to both your Super Bowl wins.
So you're coming next year to Vegas, baby.
I don't know. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. I'm putting it on you. If I'm not there, I don't know if you're going to win.
No, if I go, you got to take it now. So.
But I have felt that NFL, most people that play in the NFL, they started playing with Pee Wee football. Their identity was obviously when they went to college, they were not there for the academics. Yeah. And they were just there to play college football.
In the Kelsey household, Jason went for academics for sure.
To college?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's accurate.
So maybe for you it's an easy transition. But for a lot of players, they just, like, football is their only way in life. And so because of that, most players in the Army do 5 years and then they get out. But in the NFL, man, the journey to get to the NFL is extremely long. And when there's no longer football, it does become a very difficult transition into your identity. People don't call you as much when you don't play because they don't need tickets. When they need tickets, they're calling you the whole time. Hey, Travis, how are you? Hey, can I get free tickets for the Kansas City Chargers game? Yeah, come on. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot different when you transition out of the NFL in the sense that you definitely lose your quote unquote fans. But both of them are very similar in the sense that it is you took away your uniform. You know, maybe it's the Kansas City uniform, maybe it's the camo uniform, but it's a completely different life, and they're both very similar in the way that not only they resemble each other, you know, with how you practice and the things that we talked about, but also, you know, a change of identity. Now you got to become like pick it, you know, fruit farmer. All right, fruit farmer. There you go.
You got to find your fruit farmer boys, man. You got to get your bros in there.
No, I got no bros right now. All vegans, you know, they don't like the bro lifestyle, you know, chugging beers and eating steak.
They're in on the no deodorant though.
100%.
Last thing before we wrap up, Alejandro, we want you to be a part of our favorite segments, No Dumb Questions, because there's no dumb questions, just
dumb people.
Okay.
From Eva on Twitter. What is your Mount Rushmore of summer activities, like at a barbecue? So I think what she's going for is things that you would do at a barbecue, not like go to the beach or something like that.
At a barbecue, so I'm not a summer barbecue. That's a very American concept. So I'm
There's
not.
no barbecue in Spain?
No, there's not as much barbecue.
There's no shrimp on the barbie?
No, the barbecue. The concept of the 4th of July, taking a weekend off to go back to work in your summer job. I mean, Europeans take June, July, August off.
You just told me how excited you were to celebrate 4th of July over in Spain.
Yeah. That was obviously
you got to have a barbecue over in Spain.
Okay, barbecue. So I like to barbecue. So
like cornhole? Yep.
Okay.
Spike ball.
Spike
I
ball.
would put spike ball above anything else.
Okay.
Really?
I would
Big
put
spike ball guy.
I'm a huge spike ball guy.
What's the strategy to spike ball? Because I can't really understand it.
Is the serve.
You've never played?
Other than getting the ball to the net, I don't.
Is the serve. Everything's in the
It's
serve.
a lot of movement for a big fellow.
No. I played spike ball and I was bigger than you.
Really?
Yeah, you can. Spike ball is the funnest game in the world, behind ping pong, maybe.
I would have thought you were so in on spike ball.
Ping pong is the best. Ping pong is the goat.
I like pickleball more than ping pong.
I'm more of a table tennis guy.
Table tennis, ping pong.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
You didn't know the
I would say
I thought it was... Never mind.
I like to be in the barbecue, first of all.
You like to be the barbecuer.
I like to wear, sandals.
Do you wear like a apron?
No, shirtless.
Tongs?
Spatula. Yeah. Burgers. So I like to be the guy in the grill.
Do you like barbecue sauce?
No.
So what do you put on your meats?
Ketchup. Is that barbecue sauce?
No, I mean, Kansas City-based barbecue sauce is based
Kansas
in
City.
ketchup.
Now I got to talk about Kansas City. Burger is cheeseburger, ketchup, buns.
Yeah, but if you're making, do you ever make ribs?
Are we talking about that's not, I'm thinking about like an easy, simple barbecue. Are we talking
Hot
about
dogs, burgers?
You want to talk about smoking something? You want to talk about like smoking a pig? And now, okay, yeah, smoking a pig, yeah, for sure. That's all, yeah.
So Mount Rushmore is...
Pickleball? No, spike
Pickleball?
ball. No, spike ball. Spike ball?
Spike ball?
Spike ball.
Cornhole.
Barbecue, man.
We're missing one more. What's pool?
I can shoot pool, yeah.
No,
like,
jump in, not billiards.
Jumping in a pool.
Oh, being in the pool?
Mm-hmm.
Is
that like a barbecue?
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
I mean, shotgun and beers. Can we put shotgun beers?
I mean, I'll put that on my Mount Rushmore.
Put shotgun beers before.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it before spike ball or spike ball beating shotgun and beers?
Oh, these are not dumb questions. These are incredibly complicated questions.
Yeah.
I have to win a spike ball. I have to be the king. I have to make
I got to try this spike ball thing out.
100% spike
I can't
ball.
believe you haven't got dope.
I think I've played it.
We used to play it in the locker room. I used to play in the locker room. My teammate was Chase Claypool. He was my teammate.
Probably a good teammate. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Incredibly athletic range, and we used to play during COVID year, which is the funnest year in NFL history. We used to play spike ball for hours before practice. Hours.
What's the strategy to spike ball?
The serve.
The serve?
The serve.
I thought the serve had to be nice and easy. So
no. Obviously, that's number one. But then if you make the serve too easy, the other team is going to score right away. So you have to make the serve as complicated. You have to play game theory. You have to threaten to make a really hard serve, and then do it like a little lay. Yeah. So then they're like really far away. They can make it. The serve is 90% of spike ball. And psychology, meaning you have to intimidate your teammates, your opposing team.
How do you intimidate in spike ball?
Dude, personal stuff.
Aggressive spike.
Oh, wow. So you're trash talking.
Yeah, personal. You go personal.
What's the best way to get in somebody's head trash talking?
Talk about
girlfriends, wives,
everything,
kids,
all the above. Whatever makes them insecure. You keep trying until you find it. Yeah.
All righty. Well, dude, you're the best.
No, you're the best.
Dude, the most interesting man in the world.
There's no such thing.
I appreciate you. No, there is, and you're him.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I've never sat down with you and not been thoroughly enthralled in whatever you're saying.
Enthralled.
That's just because I'm a great bullshitter.
You speak 4 other languages.
Yeah,
did a whole bunch of things.
Every person is interesting. equally as interesting.
I don't know about equally.
Don't PFF me right
I
now.
like,
Dude,
if your PFF rating on level of interest is a 99.
No, don't PFF me, bro.
Yeah, it's higher than Aaron Donald.
No way, bro. How much is Aaron Donald's agent paying me?
Alrighty, that about wraps up this episode of New Heights. Thank you to Alejandro Villanueva for sitting in with us this week. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube to the New Heights channel so you know when all the new episodes are coming out. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, next week we will be releasing our special Ocean Drive episode, which will feature the New Heights Beer Bowl.
Once again, New Heights is presented by Wave Sports and Entertainment. Follow the show on all social media. Follow the show on all social media platforms at New Heights Show with 1S for fun clips throughout the week. And thanks to our production and crew. You guys are always making us look good. And thank you to all the 92%ers for tuning in, baby. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Peace.